Now, buying a home is a very exciting process, but it can be very stressful as well, especially viewing a house to a house, especially the secondary market. So now you're down choosing one of these property out of 10 properties or 20 properties. There's so many things that you have to know.
Ultimately, during your viewing or at the end of the viewing, the property agent that you're dealing with will throw you back the question. Please feel free to ask me if there's anything that you are unsure of. But where does this even start? What should you even ask, right?
Yep. What's up everybody, welcome to VC. My name is Vincent.
And I'm Chloe. So many people tend to purchase a property where they tend to imagine it as their dream property. But then they regret it later when the problems start to surface one by one. So an effective way to actually avoid these type of situation is by asking the right questions and as many as possible to the real estate agent prior to purchase the property.
So our topic for today will be talking about the 11 things that you should not forget to ask during a viewing for your home purchase. This topic will be focused on the secondary market, which means this property belongs to an owner, not a newly launched property that belongs to a developer. So do take note that some of these questions could be asked for newly launched property as well. We just leave it for next time.
Yeah, we'll also won't be talking about the things that you should be paying in this video, because in the secondary market or in purchasing a home in general, there's a lot of things to pay for. Back to the topic. The first question that you should ask during your property viewing for your home purchase is, why is the owner selling this property? Of course, this question won't exactly guarantee the right answer, but then if you're lucky, most of the time property agents do have the answer for this question.
Yep, by asking why the owner is moving out of this property, you could get some hints of whether the owner is in rush to sell the property or not. For example, if the property agent said they are moving out of the country, or maybe the owner is desperate to sell, you might get the opportunity to bargain the price. But then, of course, if the agent say that the owner not in rush to sell the property, bear in mind that you won't get much bargain on it.
Yep, this question also gets you more information on why the owner is moving out. Let's say they don't like the neighborhood or they had any other conflicts with the people around here. Our second favorite question that we like to ask personally, whether we're a property agent or standing in a home buyer's shoes, is how long has this property been in the market? Let's say if the property has been in the market for almost a year now, which is sometimes quite normal, sometimes not. But for us, if you see that property with a lot of banners from the property agents on sale, then the property has been in the market for 1 year plus, then maybe there's a reason why the property is not being sold yet. This is just a general estimation for the properties in Malaysia.
So if the property is not being sold after a long time, ask the property agent, why is it not being sold yet? What do they think about it?
Yeah.
Overprice could be one of the issue, especially with owners who are not willing to lower down their price and are okay with waiting. Sometimes it could be an issue with the property itself that you aren't even aware of. This question will give you the opportunity to bargain for a lower price again, or maybe consider something else.
Next question that you should ask is, how old is the property itself? When you ask this question, you could generally know how long has the property been built. Then you could estimate what you have to fix and renovate if you decide to go with this property. Older properties are often more expensive to upkeep. Let's say the property was never being renovated, right? Do you know that changing the roof would take up a huge chunk of money?
Another question we like to ask while asking how old is a property is asking about the owner, how long has they been living in here. Some owners might have stayed in the house for a long period of time, which is normal, but some owner has been only stayed there for a few months or maybe a year or two, then they decided to sell it. There can be many reasons for it, such as noisy neighborhoods, or they don't feel safe here, or maybe the house is haunted or something.
With this, you could actually ask about whether the property has repeatedly changed hands. If the property has been sold many times, then there might be a serious problem with it. We would recommend cutting it out of the list if it's a serious issue. If not, then you could consider the problem yourself. Yeah, choose it yourself.
Now to the fourth question is, what is included in the sales? Let's imagine you were invited into an open house to view the house with a couple of another buyers who are interested in that property. Open house is a real estate term. Technically means that the property is for sale. Having an open house inviting all of the buyers who are interested in the property itself to come here and view the property.
So in some cases, some property would have furniture rented to place in that property for the open house. Imagine you saw the house like, whoa, it's so pretty with all of the nice furniture and it's a good deal, right? Ended up when you're about to get the keys, then you know that the property does not come with furniture and you did not expect that at all. Now you have to spend extra money to buy the furniture. So asking what is included in the property during the viewing is very important to plan out your budget, right?
Yep, don't get fooled by staging. So is it what you see, what you get? This will definitely affect the worthiness of the property price. Other than that, you should be asking how the neighborhood is like if you're considering moving in that neighborhood. Not always the property agent will know about the neighborhood is like, but if you are lucky enough, the property agent might be a specialist in that area, so they could tell you more about the neighborhood.
On the other hand, you could also pass this question to the owner themselves, whether the neighborhood is safe or not for you to walk to somewhere, what is the crime rate around this neighborhood, or what are the infrastructures nearby if you're not sure of. Maybe you could ask if the neighbors are noisy or who are the people living here. Are there mostly elderlies or a young family or students or maybe expats? You don't want to live in a place where there's a bunch of young adults or students who sleep late at night, then partying, causing noise next door when you just want to get a good night rest, especially if you're living in condominiums.
Yep, speaking about condominiums, you could ask about the management as well. How friendly are they? How strict are they? Do they clean that condominium often, or how's the upkeep of the property? You wouldn't want to pay the management fee for them just to slack off, right?
Yeah. So the sixth question that we recently added in due to the frequent raining seasons that our country are facing, which is the place a flood zone or not? Or maybe prone to any natural disasters. Some places, especially in KL Central, is more prone to flood. Or maybe neighborhood used to be a swamp and then for some reasons the ground sunk a bit, which then caused it to be sensitive to flood.
Yep, we heard this too much about this flood disaster causing families to move out of their house. Not just their house, but even not their house is not flooded, but the road access to their home is always flooded. This could be a very, very annoying situation as well.
Yeah, definitely.
That's annoying. The next question will be, how are the amenities around this area? This is a very useful question if you are not familiar with this area. So ask the agent about this if you don't know whether there are any shopping mall nearby, or are there any grocery store for you to get your daily needs. Are there any eateries that you could easily access?
Of course, not everyone needs to know about this, but if you, for working class people who uses the MRT or LRT, you would need to know where are the nearest train stations. We would recommend you to do your own research prior to arranging a viewing for the property, else you'll be wasting your time looking at something that you won't even want to consider just because it's not convenient for you to get your groceries while you don't own a car.
Something else that we personally would love to ask is, what about this market price in this area? And do you know any other better deals? The reason why you need to ask this question is make sure that the property you are looking at is on par with the market price around this area. And you could also ask about the recent transacted price around this neighborhood. This is also to know if the owner is putting up an over market price which might not be that worthy to purchase.
Yeah, some property agents won't directly tell you that they have the property right next door and it's also on sale. But asking this could also open to new doors for you to discover where you might find a better deal. Property agents are humans too, and we do have a favorite property that we are having in a list on sale. So if the property agent thinks it's a better deal, then take a look at it, judge it for yourself after listening to them. Why do they think that it's a better deal? Is it because the price is cheaper but you get the same thing? Or is it because the house is in a better condition where you need less repairs and renovations?
Yep, the ninth question that you should never miss to ask is, are there any major defects in the house that I should know of? Not to be mean or bashing other property agents, as we are also property agents, but there are bad apples in the industry as well. So this means that not all of the property agents will tell you this kind of issue up front, but of course if you ask, they aren't supposed to provide you the wrong information unless they themselves did know about this.
Major defects could include water leakage or walls or floor cracks and many more. Buyers have to inspect whether the property is in a good condition or not, whether it needs a minimal or major renovation. Are you able to move in directly or it needs a total makeover? And do remember that you need to include additional costs when a big renovation is needed. Think about all of the upfront cash. Legit direct cash is required for the renovation works.
So if you're not planning to renovate a house at all, avoid properties that have water leakage or drainage issue, or maybe any other major problems. This is the worst for us. Finally, the second last question is ask about the title of this property, whether it is a strata title or it's an individual title. It is obvious for a condominium it's a strata title, but let's say it's a landed property, some gated and guarded communities could be strata title as well. So this is important for you to plan out your renovation, because you need to get through the management department to get approval for your renovation. And of course, in some cases, landed properties that are under strata title, you aren't able to change the outlook of the property itself.
Yes, after knowing if it's a strata or individual title, ask about if it's freehold or leasehold. In some states in Malaysia, there aren't any freehold lands, which means it's only leasehold. So if it's leasehold, ask about how long is the lease left. Let's say if the lease is around 30 years or below, do you know that it's a bit harder to get a bank loan for this purchase due to the remaining lease terms? But this also depends on which state you're in. So it would be recommended if you get to renew the lease to add up the value in that property.
Yep, but please do not assume that a freehold property are better than leasehold property. This shall not be the main reason why you are purchasing the property. There are other factors too, such as freehold property are generally more expensive compared to the leasehold property.
Yes, last but not least, the question that many buyers tend to neglect: is there any extension done to this property, and is it legal and gotten approval from the local councils? So usually when viewing a house, then the agent tells you that the house is extended. The first thing that comes in mind is, yay, you're saving our cost for extending the house. But is the extension being approved by the local authorities? If not, then good luck. If suddenly one day you're being called and told to pay the penalty because your house has an illegal extension,
that would be terrible. The authorities has to go through the extension house plan because of the fire safety and other safety reason too. So it is actually for your own good, but please do not neglect this point, as there are a lot of owners are doing so. And I think that's about for our main question to ask during a viewing for your home purchase, especially for the secondary market properties. For us, we like to ask, is there anything that you think that I should know about this property? Here you could get unexpected things about that property, whether it is haunted or someone just passed away here before, as some buyers are sensitive about this matter.
don't feel bad about asking questions. Feel free to. It's the real estate agent's job, and of course the owner's job, to let you know about all of these things. Don't be afraid if you think you're annoying or like asking too much questions. Just ask away. We love clients who ask a lot of questions rather than just walk around and say bye, I'll consider.
Yeah, it shows us your interest in that property and like you are a serious buyer. If you're not interested, I don't think you would be asking so much question details either. But another reason to do so is helping us to understand what you are looking for in the house, so we could scout the suitable property for you. So once again, just in case you think that there is something that you shouldn't ask for, don't hold it, just ask it.
So remember, after a viewing, ask yourself, why do you want to buy this property? What excites you? What's the key point of you choosing this property?
Yep, so that's all from us today. Thank you for watching. If you gained some knowledge from this video, do give us a like and consider subscribing, as we post a lot of property related content in this channel. Join the VC family and we will see you
In the next video. Ciao!